Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. I am Laura Beth Brown, Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and I am going to do my best to fill the shoes of our amazing music director, Don Milton, who is off today. We also have a special guest musician, a longtime friend of UUCA, Elise Witt. So I invite you to fully participate in our service this morning. Find a place where you can be present. Go ahead and get your chalice and sing along with all of the hymns this morning. And I'm going to invite the incomparable Jeep Hook to sing with me, to play with me as we do our opening hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the good of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Thank you so much, Laura Beth. Thank you so much, Jeep. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday morning here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, working towards becoming a beloved community, a place that changes lives. Wherever you are from, whatever path you are on, I want you to know you are welcome to be with us, to worship with us, to learn with us. It is an honor to be back here in this pulpit, to be with Laura Beth and Jeep, and of course our fabulous audiovisual team, George Macon, Michael Dangerfield, and Bryce Thomason working from afar to help us. You know, this is a sophisticated operation in many ways, and in other ways, I have a paperclip holding my hair up. So, you know, sometimes, full disclosure, it's just, it's like glue and gum and you know, just we're figuring this out as we go through this pandemic, and I think we've done great. So thank you for your grace. We got a little bit of a late start this morning, but we are so happy to be worshiping together now. I want you to know also that our adult religious education is offering two special programs this week. On Tuesday at 7:30 p.m., Laura Harker, who is a senior policy analyst at Georgia Budget and Policy Institute, will discuss the role of public policy in undoing racism and highlight a few key policies in Georgia that would help to reduce health inequities, including expanding the Medicaid program. And I know Some of us at UUCA are gearing up for a March 11th lobby day with Georgia Congress about Medicaid expansion. So keep an ear and an eye out for more information on that to come. Then on Wednesday, also at 7:30 p.m., please join us for part 2 of the series, Empathy Training for Tough Times. What to say when you don't know what to say. Co-sponsored by both Adult Religious Education and Lay Ministry Program. That's taught by yours truly, and I, along with members of our Lay Ministry team, will offer a crash course in empathy skills for loved ones who are struggling, as so many of us are. It's not rocket science, but words do matter. So we hope you will join us for that on Wednesday. And if you didn't get to come last Wednesday, totally fine. You can come in at any time, and you don't have to have read the book either. The link to register for all of these adult RE classes is going into the live chat right now. You only have to register once for this semester's full semester of our adult RE classes. I learned that recently. The link you receive will have all the dates and times for all the semester's classes, so attend the ones you want at the time that is best for you. I also want to invite you to join us after the service for our Zoom Room social hour. If you have not already, please sign up to receive an invitation to the Zoom Room social hour so you can see each other's faces and discuss what happened in worship or what's going on in your lives for some social time by following the link in your weekly update or the link that is being dropped into the live stream chat now-ish, I believe. I also just want to let you know we are now in our worship series, Designing a Life. This is a time of powerful revelation. It may also be an opportunity to reclaim your life's truest path, truest purpose. So much has fallen away during this past year, we hardly recognize ourselves. In some ways, there is true power in the possibility of a derailed path. What have we uncovered about ourselves and who we are meant to be? These are the questions we will be asking over the next few weeks. The amazing Reverend Natalie Renee Perkins got us started on our Designing a Life series, asking us how do we know what we know. And so we continue this morning with your one wild and precious life. Through this live chat experience, we can express love, care, support, and welcome to one another and to our worship leaders and our amazing AV team. This morning, we are so excited to welcome visitors from the All Souls Waccamaw UU Church in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So please take a moment now to say hello to each other, to greet each other, and to welcome the congregation from All Souls Waccamaw in Myrtle Beach and anyone else who may be visiting us this morning into this morning's worship. Once again, we are so glad you have chosen to worship with us this morning, and now we will hear from Alan Lee, who is going to continue our series on looking at Black UU historical figures in our movement for Black History Month.
Good morning. My name is Alan Lee, and I'm proud to be one of your trustees. I'm here today to reflect on Reverend Ethelred Brown, the first Black ordained Unitarian minister. Reverend Brown established churches in his native home of Jamaica and in his adopted home of Harlem. His story provides hope and reflection for me personally as I learn and grow in my faith. For Reverend Brown, he first read about Unitarianism as a youth and then turned to the faith as an adult when he was persuaded to pursue a theological training as a Unitarian minister. In the racially segregated America in the 1900s, there were no Black Unitarian churches. When Reverend Brown returned to Jamaica, there was very little startup support for him and his organization from the American Unitarian Association. After 2 initial churches failed in Jamaica, Reverend Brown landed in Harlem in 1920. There he found fertile ground to plant the seeds of Unitarianism within the Harlem Renaissance. Reverend Brown and his church never had a physical building to call their own. He was even removed from the Unitarian roll of ministers in 1930. Brown would write to the AUA saying, "Here I am, the only colored Unitarian minister in the world, trying to build the only colored Unitarian church in America. And the church and I are left severely alone." Later, after a change in AUA leadership, Reverend Brown was returned to the role, and the Harlem Unity Church was formally affiliated within the AUA. Brown would say, "Religion is not the opiate of the masses, but the stimulant, an incentive to noble deeds and sustaining power in the hour of crisis." I admire Reverend Brown's dedication through all of these hardships. I like how he challenges us to be better and live up to our beliefs as we build a new way. He challenges us also to confront the obstacles, both external and internal, to our success. Now, I will lead us in the chalice lighting words. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking and invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace. Thank you.
Greetings, UUCA family. It's so good to be back with you. I always love coming to sing with you. And since we can't meet in person, I'm inviting you here to my garden and to sing along with me. I would like to ask you to join me on this song that I started thinking about the choices that we have. And maybe all of our choices boil down to the choice between fear and love. So this is a song called Only Love Will Do. And I wrote it with the wonderful Terry Garthwaite from the Joy of Cooking Band in San Francisco back in the day. And it has a good singing along part for you all. And I know you all are big singers. So join me on Only Love Will Do.
much, Elise, for that beautiful offering. And now, won't you please rise in body or in spirit and join the Reinhardt family in this morning's movement prayer.
First, we bow to honor the Spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of Spirit. We bring these gifts unto ourselves with gratitude, and breathe and smile. We share these gifts with the world. We remember to be present. Honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente di amor, ven hacia mí, y al corazón cántele tu compasión. Sopla al volar, sube en la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Arrígame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
Let us put hands upon hearts and feel the warm connection. Let love in this moment flow. Say to ourselves silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love will heal the world. At this time, we hear the joys and sorrows of this congregation. Let us hold Al Burrell in our hearts and offer our deepest condolences to him. Al's mom, Jenny Tallman Burrell, passed away at the age of 99 on February 4th after several years of illness. Cards and emails of support and care are welcome. Please send healing thoughts to John Johnson. John is currently hospitalized with chest pain, is awaiting some test results. will be in the hospital for a couple of more days. Calls, texts, and emails of support are welcome at this time as we send love to John. We hold in our hearts all people who are struggling with loneliness, grief, loss, or illness across the world. May all beings find connection. May all people find comfort. May all of us find more ways to be more loving to one another. You are invited now to say the names of people you hold in your heart this morning, people who could use a little extra loving energy coming their way. Please speak their names or write their names into the live chat or speak their names into this holy moment now. As humans have gathered for millennia, so we gather on this day in our way to gently surrender to something beyond ourselves, to humbly acknowledge our mistakes, to ask forgiveness, to seek hope and renewal, to honor the earth that supports and sustains life, to remember that all beings are inextricably and mysteriously connected, and to feel that connection. Now, we still our bodies, and we still our minds. We take in a big breath, and we exhale. We relax into this moment that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the wise silence.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Our story this morning is The Three Questions, a story based on one by Leo Tolstoy and written and illustrated by John J. Muth. There once was a boy named Nikolai who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. I want to be a good person, he told his friends, but I don't always know the best way to do that. Nikolai's friends understood, and they wanted to help him. If only I could find the answers to my 3 questions, then I would always know what to do. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? What is the right thing to do? Nikolai's friends considered his first question, and then Sonia the heron spoke. To know the best time to do things, one must plan in advance, she said. Gogol, the monkey, who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, You will know when to do things if you watch and pay close attention. Then Pushkin, the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, You can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to keep watch and help you decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, a coconut is about to fall on your head. Nikolai thought for a moment. Then he asked his second question. Who is the most important one? Those who are closest to heaven, said Sonia, circling up to the sky. Those who know how to heal the sick, said Gogol, stroking his bruised noggin. Those who make the rules, Pushkin growled. Nikolai thought some more. Then he asked the third question. What is the right thing to do? Flying, said Sonia. Having fun all the time, said Gogol. Fighting, barked Pushkin. Then the boy thought for a long while. He loved his friends. He knew they were all trying their best to help him answer his questions, but their answers didn't seem quite right. Then an idea came to him. I know, he thought. I will ask Leo the turtle. He has lived for a very long time. Surely he will know the answers I am looking for. Nikolai hiked up into the mountains where the old turtle lived, all alone. When Nikolai arrived, he found Leo digging a garden. The turtle was old, and digging was hard for him. I have 3 questions, and I came to ask your help, Nikolai said. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? What is the right thing to do? Leo listened carefully, but he only smiled. Then he went on with his digging. You must be tired, said Nikolai at last. Let me help you. The turtle gave him his shovel and thanked him. And because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was an old turtle, Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and rain burst from darkened clouds. As they moved toward the cottage for shelter, Nikolai suddenly heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been injured by a falling tree. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house and made a splint for her leg with a stick of bamboo. The storm raged on, banging at the doors and windows. The panda woke up. "Where am I?" she asked. "And where is my child?" The boy ran out of the cottage and down the path. The roar of the storm was deafening. Pushing against the howling wind and drenching rain, he ran farther into the forest. There, he found the panda's child, cold and shivering on the ground. The little panda was wet and scared, but alive. Nikolai carried her inside and made her warm and dry, and then laid her in her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. The next morning, the sun was warm, birds sang, and all was well with the world. The panda's leg was healing nicely, and she thanked Nikolai for saving her and her baby from the storm. At that moment, Sonia, Gogol, and Pushkin arrived to make sure everything was all right. Nikolai felt great peace within himself. He had wonderful friends. He had saved the panda and her child, but he also felt disappointed. He had still not found the answers to his 3 questions. So he asked Leo one more time. The old turtle looked at the boy. "But your questions have been answered," he said. "They have?" asked the boy. "Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig my garden, you wouldn't have heard the panda's cries for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time you spent digging the garden. The most important one at that moment was me, and the most important thing to do was to help me with my garden. Later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby. And the most important thing to do was to take care of them and make them safe. Remember then that there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is always the one you are with. And the most important thing is to do good for the one who is standing at your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in this world. This is why we are here."
So when you listened to this famous story Laura Beth told us so beautifully, the 3 questions, who did you imagine yourself to be? I would guess many of you imagined yourself as the boy, Nikolai, and that is as it should be. When we hear a story, we often think of ourselves in the protagonist role, but the truth is, you are the 3 friends who offer consultation and wisdom from your experience and your vantage point. You are also the old turtle who needs help with the garden. You are the panda mother who is in crisis. And you are also the panda baby who is lost and suffering. Because we are a part of a community of seekers and spiritual explorers. When we ask ourselves the most important questions of our lives, we have more than ourselves to help us answer. We have each other. Through small group ministry, through adult religious education, neighborhood circles, generational groups, book groups, support groups, coffee hour, we can all ask each other to be each other's mirror and reflection We can be the one who is offering and the one who is receiving wisdom and an eternal movement of support and seeking. Even as we may feel lost, if you are a part of UUCA, the truth is you are never alone. For the chance to be a part of a community that makes meaning and asks each other the hard questions, we offer our gratitude, our gifts, our time, and our treasure. So please go now to uuca.org/give, as our offering will now be given and gratefully received.
So you know that I love to sing, but I also believe that singing is our birthright. And so many people have somehow at some point in their lives been told they don't have a voice, they can't sing on pitch, they're out of key, whatever. Please don't sing, just mouth the words. And I think that's just a crime, because we're all born with a voice and each of our voices is unique. When we join together, we make beautiful harmony together. So I just started imagining, what if everywhere, everyone could sing whenever, and with each other, by ourselves, in our garden. Here, you're welcome in my garden, in every situation. So I invite you to sing along with me on this song called All Singing. What if every session of Congress started with singing? What if every day we greet started with singing? Babies are born singing. When did we stop? How did we stop? Why did we stop singing? 'Cause singing is in our soul, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our soul. Sing it with me. Singing is in our soul, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. Harmonies. Singing is in our soul, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. But that low harmony. Singing is in our soul, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. Imagine computer programmers all singing. Students and teachers, janitors and principals all singing. Baseball, football, basketball, soccer, hockey, rugby teams all singing. Doctors, nurses, patients, and anesthesiologists all singing. 'Cause singing is in our soul, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. Singing is in our soul, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. Imagine the Supreme Court justices all singing in the name of love. Imagine a jury deliberating, all singing Black Lives Matter. Imagine CEOs and boardrooms together, all singing for equal pay. Farmers in the field and workers in the factories all singing, and not 'Cause singing is in our souls, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. Singing is in our souls, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. Yes, it is. Singing is in our souls, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. It changes the air around us, changes the molecules in us. It changes you, changes me, changes everything. Let's sing. 'Cause singing is in our souls, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. Singing is in our souls, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls. One more time. Singing is in our souls, singing is in our bodies, singing is in our souls.
Thank you, Elise. And I just could not help notice the birds singing in harmony with her in her garden. She began her song with a framework of what if Congress opened with singing, and it reminded me of, I guess it was maybe a month ago or so, I had the opportunity to speak in front of the Georgia Senate, and I was invited by our amazing UUCA member and state senator, Nan Orox. And so I gave the invocation, and one of the thoughts I had was maybe I could sing a little something as part of this, but it's written right there. There are very few rules about giving the invocation or the opening prayer for the day at Senate, but one of the rules is no singing. And I'm interested, I'm curious about that, but I love this invitation that Elise offered us. So what if it wasn't just the preacher up there singing, but everyone singing together? And that's how they started this session. Amazing to think about. But there is a place singing's not outlawed, and that is UUCA. We always sing together. It's a big part of our worship experience, and I love to imagine you out there in your homes, in your living rooms or bedrooms or wherever you are, singing along with the hymns each Sunday. I hope you are doing that, and I cannot wait until that moment when we're able to be together again. But until that moment, until that time, we continue to sustain our community that inspires us to sing out wherever we can and every way we can. So won't you please join me now as we dedicate and bless the offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community. We dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Blessings on this gift. This morning's reading is by the poet David Wagoner. The poem is called Lost. Stand still. The trees ahead and bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger. Must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes. Listen. It answers, I have made this place around you. If you leave it, you may come back again saying, here. No two trees are the same to raven. No two branches are the same to wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, you surely are lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. So ends the reading. Not until we are lost do we begin to understand ourselves. Those words were written by Henry David Thoreau, Have you ever been lost in the wilderness or in the wilds of your own life? The Quaker theologian Parker Palmer has experienced both. Here is his story. A couple of years ago, he writes, I got lost hiking alone on a poorly marked mountain trail at Ghost Ranch in New Mexico, where I was on retreat. It was starting to get dark, and I panicked and began to run. Just the right thing to do when you have no idea where you're going, don't you think? Then I remembered the wisdom in this poem, Lost, and I stood still and listened. I could not tell you what I was listening to, except that it was something both in me and around me. After 5 minutes, as my fears subsided, that something told me to turn around and walk slowly back up the mountain, looking to the left as I climbed. That's how I found the trail I had missed in my fearful sprint. For me, that story and this poem have all kinds of implications for those times when I am inwardly lost. I will simply say with the poet, stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. I remember how it felt at the beginning of quarantine last spring. Remember that? For me, it felt like I had been racing through my life, trying to outpace the sunset, and it took a pandemic to stop me in my tracks. As we near the 1-year mark of staying quarantined and staying home, I wanted to explore a worship series about life design, on how we can be lost in our own life, and how we can find our way back to the path of clarity and purpose. Because after a year, we are now, as the writer Rebecca Solnit would say, rich in lostness. I have noticed how many of you have spent time in wilderness and are now being found, or finding yourselves, as they say. So we are coming up on 1 year of disruption, the great disruption. Almost a year ago, all the regular routines and habits we have built over our lives were suddenly disrupted, changed, or stopped altogether. Many of us have lost someone in our lives this year, or we have become lost ourselves, in a sense. Some of you have lost jobs or retired early. You have changed careers or entered a time of career discernment. Some of you have moved across the country or across the city. Some of you have ended marriages. Others have started new relationships in this year. And after a year of this, we worry the sun will set before we find our way to a fulfilling and meaningful life. And many of us have long felt ready to break into a sprint, to get to the next phase, the one where we are going back to restaurants and plays, singing in choirs and having dinner parties and all those other distractions too. Yet, when everything screeched to a halt, this offered us a few precious gifts we may never have again. Time. Now, for many of us, that's not a reality. Some of us are working too hard and under too much stress to find some of that time. But in some way or another, for all of us, time has certainly shifted. Our relationship to time in our lives has changed. Stillness. With that shift in time has brought stillness, just staying at home. And with that has brought awakenness, awakenness to our surroundings, suddenly realizing some things that we needed to realize, awakening to the realities of racial inequities in our nation, and so many other awakenings going on. And another gift has been depth of relationship with self. More time alone. Now, it occurred to me recently, my kids might never have that experience of feeling truly lost in the wilderness. I mean, like in the mountains, in the forests. They will most likely always have a GPS or a smartphone. And I want them to know that feeling of total lostness, and then to learn how to orient themselves and forge their own paths through the wilderness. When Rebecca Solnit suggests we can be rich in lostness, she means being lost can make us completely present to what is before us, what is right in front of us. It can confront us with who we really are and what we are truly capable of. The goal isn't to avoid being lost, but to learn how to get lost well, to be rich in lostness. Over the next few weeks in worship, we will explore together how to make a life that feels attuned and aligned with your heart's desire, with a sense of something greater than you at work. Even during a pandemic, even when you feel lost in the wilderness, we will explore what it takes to use a map to chart a course towards making life purposeful, meaningful, authentic. We at UUCA have been engaging with design thinking, a strategy for innovation that originated at Stanford University some years ago and has been used in Silicon Valley as a way to collaboratively examine, test, and generate completely new ideas. Last summer, the Adult Religious Education program under Laura Beth's leadership used design thinking to think differently about their programming, particularly during a pandemic. And as a result of this way of thinking, our adult RE programming has enjoyed some of its highest participation in years. But what if we use design thinking to design not a new app or a new program, but a life? Well, these Stanford professors have done just that. They have created a course for students to use design thinking to design their lives. And we can apply this to our lives at any age and any stage. The social scientists Bill Burnett and Dale Evans, in their 2016 book, Designing Your Life, suggest that first, before we get to truly designing a life, we have to address some of the major barriers, the myths that we tell ourselves when it's time to make a decision or make a change. First is the misconception that we all have just one path to follow or one single life passion. But according to the Stanford Center on Adolescence, it turns out less than 20% of people in young adulthood have any singular identifiable passion in their lives, which means 8 out of 10 people have many interests, a multitude of interests, and therefore this cannot be an organizing principle for design. So this expectation that we should just have one passion to follow and fulfill, well, that's really not going to work for most of us. And another misconception is the meta-narrative that many people have in their minds that whatever you want to be doing, well, you are already too late. I wonder if that's a narrative you've had in your head. That whatever it is you want to be doing, it's already too late for that. The truth is, people are forming their lives more fluidly than ever, with dynamic relationships, having children at different times in their lives, starting new careers and jobs. And in life design, we never should on anyone. You are where you are. There is always time to make a change, always possibility. There are other cliches that are unhelpful when you think about designing a life. Some of these sound like a commercial selling you something. Are you being the best possible version of you? Are you settling for less than the best? I mean, this implies that life is linear, right? And that there is a best at all. The unattainable best is the enemy of all the available betters. There are so many versions of you that can take shape. There is no best. There is no best version of the self, and life is not linear in this way. So, if we are able to exercise these demons of misconceptions, those barriers that keep us from truly engaging in free search for meaning in our lives, then let us consider the organizing ideas of designing a life. And these are just some of the organizing ideas. We'll be exploring all of this over the next few weeks. The first organizing idea of life design is connecting the dots of your life, making a coherent story of things that may seem unrelated. So there's who you are, there's what you believe, and there's what you do in the world. How can you make all of these three things one coherent story? Which is to say, if your issue is about work or careers, maybe ask yourself, what is work for? What is work for? And then ask yourself, why am I here? And if you can connect those answers in a coherent way, well, then you can experience your life as meaningful. You can create purpose out of that. Another organizing principle of life design is to ask the question, how many lives are you? In design thinking, they have a rule of 3, so as not to get overwhelmed. They just love the number 3. So they invite you to imagine, to choose 3 different lives for yourself. And they offer a rubric for how to choose as well. So if the thing you are doing now were to disappear, then what would you do? It's just an imagination exercise. If the thing you were doing now disappears, what would you do? And then another imagination exercise. What is your wild card plan if you didn't have to worry about money and you knew no one would laugh? We have a member of our congregation who is living their wild card plan right now, who has made a decision, a change in their life, just answering the question, what if you didn't have to worry about money and you knew no one would laugh? Often, the answers to these questions are things that actually were left behind at an earlier stage in our lives. Some memory we have of another time when we felt that sense of attunement and authenticity. We felt at ease and comfortable in our lives. And finally, how do you choose well? How do you know what you know? That question that Reverend Natalie Perkins was wrestling with last week. How do you know what you know? How do you bring what's inside out? As you narrow down choices, you'll have a gut feeling. So these Stanford scientists talk a lot about this gut feeling. You cannot choose well if you choose only from your rational mind. Dan Goleman says the choosing part of your brain is way down in your base brain. It's the basal ganglia that summarizes emotional decisions for you. The only problem is it's so early in the brain that it doesn't communicate with the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that talks. It's connected instead to the GI tract and the limbic system. It is felt. I will never forget the experience of choosing to leave my beloved home of Asheville, North Carolina, where I had lived over 10 years and owned a home and a dog and moved to, and had a husband, and moved to New York City. When I got the call that I was being offered the job in New York, I was on vacation, which soon became pretty much staying holed up in our vacation rental, racked with nervous indecision. Every time I imagined myself saying yes to New York, my brain would break out into song. Maybe it was Sinatra's New York, New York, or Alicia Keys and Jay-Z's Empire State of Mind. But my stomach would rebel. I would become seriously ill when I really tried to imagine it. And so I told my potential new boss that I could not accept the position until my body would allow me to do so. And the nausea didn't really subside until I came up with, finally, another, more workable plan that didn't involve me uprooting my life in 2 months' time. I negotiated for a full year before moving to New York, and this made all the difference. How did I know? My stomach settled, and I knew it was the right path. And finally, design thinking invites you, once you have made your choice, to let go of all the roads not taken and move on. Now, this design thinking works for social scientists and programmers in Silicon Valley, and in some ways, it can help us. But I also find myself taking this learning and returning again to Parker Palmer's tradition of Quakerism and letting the Spirit within us lead us as we listen to that still small voice. 2020 has been a reckoning year for many institutions, including my alma mater, a small Quaker liberal arts school in North Carolina called Guilford College. Already struggling financially and struggling with mission, 2020 nearly brought Guilford College to the brink of collapse. Throughout the process of this last year, negotiating resignations with the president and now the interim president, they on the board and all the leaders have spoken about seeking the light as they discern a path forward. So what does this mean in the Quaker sense? I will share one of my favorite excerpts from Thomas Kelly's A Testament of Devotion. Deep within us all, there is an amazing inner sanctuary of the soul, a holy place, a divine center, a speaking voice to which we may continuously return. It is a dynamic center, a creative life that presses to birth within us. It is a light within, which illumines the face of God. It is a seed stirring to life if we do not choke it. It is the Shekinah of the soul, the presence in the midst, and it is within us all. Beautiful description of what Quakers call the inner light. And my friend Susanna Rutger said this about the term light in the Quaker sense. Central to the Quaker understanding of truth-seeking is the belief that each person has direct access to truth through an inward light that illumines conscience, reason, and action. The light is transcendent, real, and universal. It is with this understanding that Quaker vocabulary contains such expressions as live up to the light you have, walk in the light, and especially, I'll hold you in the light. So maybe you are currently sprinting through life's marathon. I realized a few weeks ago that I had been sprinting through a pandemic marathon, and I needed some time to stand still. Perhaps you are sprinting through life's marathon, racing against sunset. Perhaps you are standing still, waiting to receive your inner truth. Or perhaps you are well on your way, feeling aligned with your gifts and values. Or perhaps you are taking that leap and making a big transition just now. Wherever you are on your path, whether you are rich in lostness or you have found and designed a new course for your life, please know I am holding you in the light. Amen.
Let us sing to that light within each of us. Let us hold each other in the light as we sing our final hymn, This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
There are so many ways to design a life, but may you not let this moment, the opportunities of this great disruption, pass you by. May you recognize when you are rich in lostness and allow that feeling of being rich in lostness to allow you to stand still and listen. We will continue to explore designing our lives over the next few weeks. Next week, we will talk about getting unstuck. And so I look forward to you joining us for that. But until then, please go in peace, go in love, be blessed. Amen.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate, greed, and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, the world would die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, getting stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building. We're building a new way. Yeah, I heard it. We're building us a new way. Yeah, I heard it on the front line. That we're building us a new way.
You are the new day. You are the new day. I will love you more than me and more than yesterday. If you can but prove to me you are the new day. Send the sun in time for dawn. Let the birds all hail the morning. Love of life will urge me, say, you are the new day. When I lay me down at night, knowing we must fade, thoughts occur that this night might stay yesterday. Thoughts that we as humans small could slow worlds and end it all. Lie around me where they fall before the new day. One more day when time is running out for everyone. Like a breath I knew would come, I just needs days in which to be. Love of life means hope for me, born on a new day. You are the new day. You are the new day. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. All through the night, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Take this light around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Take this light around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Take this light around the world, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Walk down that lonesome road all by yourself. Don't turn your head back over your shoulder, and only stop to rest yourself when the silver moon is shining high above the trees. If I had stopped to listen once or twice, if I had closed my mouth and opened my eyes, if I had cooled my head and warmed my heart, I'd not be on this road tonight. Carry on, carry on, never run feeling sorry for yourself. It doesn't save you from your troubled mind. Walk down that line. stop to rest yourself when the silver moon is shining high above the trees.
Have you ever seen the sky so beautiful, colorful, wide and wonderful? Have you ever felt the sunshine so brilliantly raining down over you and me? Have you ever wanted more? Wanted more? You've got to keep your mind wide open, all the possibilities. You've got to live with your eyes open, believe in what you see. Think of all the days you've wasted, worrying, wondering, hopelessly hoping. Think of all the time ahead. Don't hesitate, contemplate. No, it's not too late.